All right, guys. Good morning and welcome back. So, I want to start a new series here on the podcast. Um, and in the process of writing my book about training, um, I was faced with a challenge, which was how can I put something into words on paper that actually needs way more than just words on paper. So, I want to add to my book doing a series of literally talking about my training session. So this for me is the difference between all the PDFs and Excels out there, which provide pretty good information that you can look up on the internet about programming, training, and what to do, etc. And I was always wondering if, like, the smartest people out there put the programming out there, why is it not working for everybody? And of course, you know the answer, because it's not as easy just doing the work and following the work. So I figured I started talking about my training, like in detail. So I'll use this podcast at least a couple of times for literally telling you a story about my training sessions. If you like it, cool. If not, I'm going to do it anyways, nevertheless, because I think it's fun and it helps. I think it will help a lot of people. So this is the difference between providing information and getting knowledge out of it. So what does that mean? You can read my book, and I think it's pretty decent in terms of the experiences I had over the last 15 years. But what can you do with it? There's practical stuff in there, obviously. But how can you transform that information into knowledge for you so it actually will give you the progress it can, so you can have an endless hockey stick progression. That's the main goal. So here's what we're going to do. I'm just going to tell you what I trained today. It's all on the Traveling Circus platform. So if you guys want to look it up, there's an Excel on there. I'll put the PDFs on there. I'll put videos on there. So you can, it's free. You can just sign up and it's for free. And you can literally see what I'm doing on a daily basis. And it's not just me. I'll put the gym programming up there. So everything that I've done for the last 10, 15 years is going to come on there. Access it. Be nice, be humble, introduce yourself. I want to talk to you and use the stuff. I'm going to put the podcast up there as well, because it's not about my programming of the day, which was 10 minutes of cardio, which was, let me just check my Excel real quick, Swiss bar seated dead press for a couple of sets. I did a reverse sled today. I did a harness today. I did a rope pull. And I did some cable triceps pressing. All right, so if you look at that programming, it's like, oh wow, that sounds fantastic or whatever. No, it doesn't. I'm gonna run you through literally every single exercise and tell you what I was thinking and doing, what is not on paper, not in the Excel. So I started with a 10-minute cardio. This is, I hate doing cardio. I hope you do too. So we're on the same page and on the same team. And I don't do cardio. I see it as prepping myself for focusing on my training session. This is literally what I do. I choose my least favorite cardio tool, which is the Stairmaster. I hate taking the stairs. And I go there for 10 minutes. So I'll pick a pace where I don't get bored and where I don't over push myself. So what does that mean? I want to find a sweet spot where I have to push a little bit, but I don't have to push that hard. So I start like mouth breathing. This is not preparing for focus. This is preparing for whatever, for, I don't know, a bar fight. That's when you mouth breathe, and that's where you kind of have that sympathetic reaction. So I want to prepare myself for the training session to come. So I hit it hard, but I only do nose breathing. So I go as fast as possible, but I don't switch to mouth breathing, right? So your part now is, okay, what is your pace? I can tell you exactly what I do. I pick pace 12. I take a certain stance on it, but that's not going to be you. I started at 8 actually, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and now I'm at 12. So that's progress. I know it's stupid progress, But it's progress. It's measurable progress. I can go for 10 minutes with a constraint. That means nose breathing only, no sympathetic mouth breathing, blah, blah, blah. And I picked up the pace. So that's literally called progress. So I like it. So maybe in like 2, 3, or 4 months from now, I'll go to pace 13. And that's how I measure progress, which is it measurable? Did I get better? Yes, sweet. Let's continue. All right, so that's my prepping focus session. And I sweat like a guinea pig, trust me. This is, I sweat a lot doing this. So this kind of preps my body, whatever you want to call it, blood flow, you want to warm up, I don't care. It's focusing on my session that comes afterwards. Today I did Swiss bar seated dead press. I suck at pressing, so I picked a dead stop press, which means the bar is at, here at the gym, it's at 10. The safety spot bars are at 10. So I have to start pressing from above the shoulder, so I can use my pecs. I grip as wide as possible, and I use a Swiss bar. So that means a neutral grip, because that helps me a lot learning how to press properly and use a proper press pattern. More in the book. This is literally about the pressing. So I don't do an empty barbell press for warming up. So I put like roughly 50-60% of my max weight on the bar, do like 3 reps, and I work my way up always to a set of 5, right? But that means like 2 warm-up sets, maybe with 3 reps, and then I'll put the weight from last week. I'll do 5 reps. If that feels good, I'll do another one. So I'll do basically like someone would call it 5 rep max, but I have to stick to my pressing pattern, which is like I have to keep my torso upright. I have to use my lats to stabilize my torso, and I want to press through my triceps. That's literally what I'm going to do. So I can't fall forward, and I can round my shoulders. I can round my T-spine, because that's not going to translate to me, whatever, bench pressing more, or whatever the goal in pressing is. My goal is to bench press more. So I'll focus on the bench press pattern executed through an overhead press. This literally takes like 10 minutes, maybe 50 minutes. I'll do pretty long breaks in between, right? Because it's fairly heavy, and I videotape it. And if I'm happy, like if I do like 5 reps at my last week's weight, and I feel good that day, I'll add like 2.5 in total, like 1.25 on each side. And I'm trying to shoot for somewhere in between like 3 and 5 reps. I'll never go below 3 reps. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like 1 rep is like, okay, if Easter and Christmas is on the same day, you probably press it, but you're never gonna press it again. There's nothing in it for me that I would see as progress. It's nice to get your 1 rep max up, but at the end of the day, it's the 3 to 5 rep range that actually makes you stronger, because you can still focus on stuff, what's actually happening, or what you want to do or don't want to do. And you're putting some decent weight on there that you can move a couple of times. After that, I went to the reverse sled, and the sled, which is a little bit untypical for me, because usually today is Wednesday, is usually more of a longer sled stuff thing. It's more of a recovery day, and Friday is I'll push it hard on the sled day. But tomorrow's a traveling day, so I probably won't be able to train, which is fine. So I basically did Thursday today and Friday, because I don't know if I can train on Friday. So I did a reverse sled, which means I know the weights and the stickiness of the floor here pretty well, so I know what weight to put on, and I'll never go below 20 meters. I'll do somewhere in between like 20 and 60 meters, like 60 meters being like the max, because it's supposed to be strength training and not cardio, right? So the less weight I take, I'll shoot for 60 meters, and the more weight I choose, I'll go for whatever, 20, 30, 40 meters. And I don't care how long it is. I don't want to finish 40 meters. My goal is to put as much weight on and struggle for like the last third. And for the reverse sled, which is supposed to train my inner quads to push off the floor, I'll focus on, okay, I have to keep my heels off the floor. I have to keep my heels off the floor at all times, which means they're not touching the floor. I'm extending my hips. So I'm pushing my belly button to the sky as much as possible. As soon as I bend my hips, I'll use something else and not my quads, my inner quads and my glutes. But that's what I'm focusing on. So if I don't do this, the exercise doesn't make any sense, right? I'll keep my arms straight. I'll keep my chest up. So I want to push through the quads, inner quads, the VMO, and use my glutes to stabilize my hips. That's all I'm training for in the reverse sled drag. I don't do it for cardio. I don't do it for anything else. These are the three things I want to focus on. Heels off the floor. I want to push through the balls of my foot and engage the VMO, the inner quad, and use my glutes to stabilize my hips. If you bend your hips, your glutes are not on. And that's a main part of the exercise. Today I switched it up a little bit, which meant I went straight from pulling, so reverse sled dragging, into the harness. Why? Because I don't really like it, going back and forth. So I wanted to have more of a volume type thing for me today, which meant no breaks in between. So whenever I finished a reverse sled drag for like 40 meters, I immediately went into the harness back rolls. I went on all fours. And I focused on, okay, so now my quads are basically gone, right? Because they're burning and it's hurting everywhere, but in a good way. So now I go into the reverse, now I go into the harness bear crawl. My quads are shot. And so I have to use, guess what? My glutes and my hamstrings to push forward, which is great because my quads are gone anyways. So that's what I focus on. I focus on not extending my legs. I've seen this so many times. Don't fully extend your legs. This is about small, choppy, fast steps. Don't extend your legs because you wanna use your quads and now your hamstrings and your glutes. So 40 meters of reverse sled drag going to 40 meters of harness bear crawl. Sweet combo. It's hard. And I do 2 sets of these with as much rest as I want in between, like 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes. I don't even look at the clock. I just go at like 90% recovery. 100% would take like an hour or 2. So I'll do a couple of minutes of rest. In my head is, okay, I want to rest like a little bit more, and that's when I start. Right? So not fully recovered, like 80-90% of your recovery, like, okay, let's do this one more time. And that's why I think the 2 sets for, let's call it intermediate people training, are perfect. If you're a novice, you can go for like 3 or 4 sets because you can't push that hard yet, which is fine. But for guys like me, like an intermediate dude training, 2 sets is perfect. Because I can push as hard as I can on the first one. I'll rest a little bit and it's like, okay, I got 1 more. 1 more works for me in my head. If I have like, okay, I got 4 more, I'll reduce the intensity. I can do 4 more, but the point is putting as much oomph, putting as much intensity in as possible. So those are my 2 sets. Then I did rope pulls. Very simple, but not as simple as you may think. So I'll pull a rope. Well, I attach a rope to a sled and I pull it towards me. So I reach out as far as I can and I pull in as far as I can. That means I want to I'm thinking about, when I pull in, I'm trying that my shoulder blade moves towards my spine and tries to touch the spine, which obviously won't happen, thank God. But I'm thinking about, okay, I reach out as far as I can, I'll pull in, and then I'll squeeze my shoulder blade inside towards my spine. Why? Well, because I want to engage my lats, and the first pull, like the first move, starts obviously with the biceps. Goes from biceps to like teres major and lats, and I want to finish off with my lats with the dorsi, because that's what's gonna save your back, right? And that's what we're doing the rope pulls. I did, what is that, roughly 25, 30 meters. The last third is like burns like hell, and this is like literally I have to push through this. If that feeling starts like, or if you slow down on the first third, that's too heavy. If you easily make it to the end, that's too light. I know it sounds simple, but I've seen both a lot of times. So the goal is squeeze in, use your lats, like literally like actively try to touch your spine with your shoulder blade and struggle for the last like third, or call it a fourth, whatever it is. But for the last portion, on 30 meters, that would be like the last 8 meters. Like that's where the struggle sets in, and you wanna stop, but obviously you don't, because it's grow or die. And then I did, and I won't go into details here because that's a weird one. And I finished up with some, let's call it cable triceps work, where I wanted to work on stuff for the long head of the triceps. That's about it. I won't say how I did it because that's a little bit too advanced for now, but twice a week I finish with stuff for muscle chains that are underdeveloped in my body, which is the triceps, and I want to press more, so I need more triceps. That's as far as it goes. I forgot one thing, sorry. I always do some sort of grip work on my upper body days. So today I did a neutral and supinated hang, and I do it with my legs being involved. So why do I do this? So I always start with neutral, and I worked my way towards the widest neutral grip that is available in the gym. But it's not only the neutral grip; it's a semi-false grip. So you try to wrap your fingers around the grip, the bar, as far as you can. This is not hanging on your fingertips or just on your fingers. This is getting as much of your palm and your hand around the bar, creating that, whoever does muscle ups, creating that muscle up grip. This is so important. This is not just hanging in a neutral position. This is creating as much tension as possible with a false grip, and it looks like a neutral grip. Why do I put my legs into the equation? The short answer is, the long answer is in the book, the short answer is your hands are the most important factor to activate your core. I know it sounds weird, but there's an axis path through your hands that runs through the forearms and biceps and chest into your obliques. That's fantastic to explore. So whoever has a hard time finding the core, etc., and I'll put it online soon. There's a couple of really good exercises where you have to start creating tension through your hands towards the inside, and that's going to help you so much finding or activating, how you want to call it, the trunk and the core. All right, that's about it for today's training session. I'll keep you posted. I'll probably do a next one next week. Have a good one. Let me know what you think. Is that cool? Is that not cool? Feedback is highly appreciated. You'll find the link to the Traveling Circus in the description. If I can actually make it to edit the description, I'll make it, guys. I'll make it. So the link is there. Follow me on Instagram at GregorGregs. I got some cool stuff coming up, like the book, etc. Love to get feedback, and let's make normal people abnormally strong. Have a good one, guys.